And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's Friday, whatever date it is, 2026. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you have a good weekend. As always, serious talk on everything that affects you. If we sound different today, we are on the iPhone app. And I know I get people emailing, Gary, doesn't sound great. Hey, sorry. We're traveling. We're still doing a show, right? Anyway, hope you have a good weekend. Masters going on. Rory McIlroy leading by 2 strokes, 7 under. I didn't take him. I took DeChambeau. What a dummy. Oh, well. Hey, serious talk on everything that affects you. We will do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, war, tariffs, Iran, and something else today that happened. I'm going to do that at the outset. And if you don't get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our X feed. If you don't follow us on X, just put our name in. If you'd like to email us, just be nice. And we'll also post it on our YouTube channel, BizTV. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have made a point the last day or so. Markets. Do a lot more markets. Lay off all the other crap. But I have to start today with the markets and your best buddy, President Trump. And if you've listened to this show for a very long time, you know we have no favorites. You know we can't stand any of them. We've had it up to our ears with all of them. As we have stated here, balls and strikes with this president. We love what he did with the border. We love what he did with deportations, but then he screwed that up and watched his poll numbers head south. We love what he did with Israel. We love what he did with crime, and then he started pardoning a bunch of criminals who gave a bunch of money to his super PACs, so he stepped on that too. We like doing something with Iran. But we think he's miscalculated that sucker big time. But you know what? I would have miscalculated too. So we'll give it the benefit and hopefully it works out well. But then there are other things that have to do with you and your money and the markets. And as you know, we loathe tariffs. You can't tell me you're a conservative Republican and raise taxes. That's what tariffs are. You can't tell me you're a conservative Republican and say tariffs are your favorite word in the dictionary. You can't tell me you're a conservative Republican and poke your nose into all kinds of businesses. Right? Well, something else that happened today that has everything to do with the stock market and the president. And you can believe what you want. I know what happened here. Let me read a post by the president today that has everything to do with something in the stock market. Palantir Technologies, and he wrote the symbol PLTR, has proven to have great war-fighting capabilities and equipment. Just ask our enemies. President DJT, Donald John Trump. That is your President of the United States interfering with the stock market because a stock is crashing. A stock of, I do believe, is a friend to the government, the CEO, who's been at the White House, I hear, a dozen or 2 times. And I can't tell you how much this irritates me. Just another thing that goes into the loss column with this president. He, on purpose, tried to goose a stock that has been getting blasted. Why? Because, as we warned you, the software stocks are in a bear market. And I can safely tell you that upon him saying that, Palantir at the time was at 125.64, down another $6 today. Still finished down on the day, but rallied up $3 and change in minutes. How do you feel about that? Those of you who love the guy, you think that's right? He rigged the market today. It's bad enough we're not going to have an independent Fed going forward because he's putting his guy in there that's already talking, well, we're just going to lower interest rates regardless whether he should or not. He rigged the market of a stock today. How do you feel about that? I can't tell you how much that irritates me. It's bad enough they did these memes things with the Melania coin that's down 99% now, but a bunch of people got out right at the outset, insiders. A Trump coin or something down 98% or 97%. Bad enough. Oh, and I can go on about the Suns. Bad enough. Every one of you that believe in free markets should be very much PO'd. Every one of you should be PO'd about that. That's all I can tell you. That's your president. I wish he was not doing these things. As you know, I have said to you, and I mean this, I'm rooting for him. I'm wishing him well. I want nothing from but great things. But this is control freakism, interventionism, everything every one of you in MAGA and Republicans and conservatives believe in. Laying off, staying out, free markets, free businesses to do what they do best, as long as they do it legally. So unfortunately, I have to start with this, and it may not be big potatoes, but it is indicative of everything Republican conservatives root against. That's my take. Which takes me to before I get into the market, the software stocks. Amazingly, they cooked them again today. Amazingly, they killed them again today. And I'm looking for any respite, but as we have explained to you, the portfolio managers are just getting rid of them. They're lopping them off. They're getting them off their books. And what are they doing? They're buying up those areas we've told you about, which had another day today to where the Dow was down 270, but those areas were mostly up today. Semiconductors, up 200 today, the stocks. Semiconductor equipment, artificial intelligence, and in that realm of artificial intelligence, memory, data, storage, data centers, and the like. Regardless, with the Dow down 270, NASDAQ's up 80, NASDAQ 100 up 34, and the semiconductors up 200, which has me a little worried because we're getting really narrow, very narrow. Because the rest of my screens today, I told you about the software and all that other tech, but I have to tell you, I think I mentioned defense stocks topping out yesterday, worsened today. We already knew about a ton of the medical, and that includes pharmacy and stuff like that. And by the way, even with United Health making that move, still not a big fan of that group. And retail today got clipped but good. Housing remains weak. Insurance remains weak. Not all financials remain weak. The bank's better, but narrow it is. Up next, lots more. No more complaining. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. And it keeps pouring on today, unfortunately. It just came out that President Trump is promising every one of his staff he's going to full pardon. What the F is going on in our government? What the hell is going on in our government? We are a freaking banana republic. Biden pardons his whole freaking family, who was about as corrupt as can be, and now this president is going to pardon everybody. This is sickening. We're so screwed. It's heartbreaking. It really is. The last guy, a crumb. This guy ain't no better. Oh yeah, he's done great things, and we've highlighted it. What do you mean you're pardoning? Dang it. All right, moving back on. My son was just here in my office, and guess where he's going tonight? On a flight to Atlanta and a drive to Augusta. One of his good friends ended up with 2 badges from a relative. My son's going to the Masters. And I can't go because there's no aftermarket tickets anymore. Oh well. What can I tell you? I want to get back on the software train. I know, as I said, semiconductor in those areas, but I think it's imperative that we pat ourselves on the back about having November 4th is when we started saying avoid software. But again, little did we know, had no idea they were going to go into a gargantuan bear market. And a bunch of them went into new yearly lows yesterday. Today, CrowdStrike, another $15. How about Cadence Design? Another $15. Palo Alto, another 11. Snowflake, 11. And then they started hitting some other stuff. You know how we tell you, boy, if a group is getting hit, I don't care if there's a stock that's strong, I'm not buying that one stock. Go look at Akamai, symbol AKAM. It is right in the crosshairs of the stocks that have been getting trashed, but it has been kind of strong. Down 17% today, $18 to 91. They got that one today. How about Cloudflare? Same group, down 26 today. You know, when we gapped up on Wednesday, it opened up at 225 Cloudflare. NET. Earnings up 47. Revenues up 34. It opened up on the gap up Wednesday, 225. It closed at 167. 3 days. They're murdering the group. HubSpot, another 12. Intuit, another 10. Checkpoint, which, by the way, is kind of like a low beta, 233 to 135 in the last 8 months. We hope you listen. And let me tell you the big version why we hope you listened. Because if the market as a whole ever starts to get into the position that software did, you had better be listening. And I can tell you, until Wednesday, the market was getting into that position. But then, as we have said to you, a lot of stuff is very news-driven. The oil part, the war part. So we've rallied up. But I've got to tell you, before the war, the big indices were just range-bound for 5-6 months, with a lot of areas in rough shape. I have to tell you, those areas are mostly still in rough shape. And you better be careful. Retail stocks are getting buzzed again. We've already told you medicals, for the most part, in bad shape. And even with the nice little United Health gap to the upside, I don't think it's out of its bear market. Defense stocks look like they have topped. We mentioned that recently. How about ADP and Paychecks, new yearly low ground? The payroll companies. Now, there are some saying to me, well, that's artificial intelligence. And I ask, why? And maybe I'm nuts and I don't know what I'm talking about, but why? Insurance stocks, terrible. Airlines and cruise lines that gapped up on the drop in oil, they're not up now from that day. So oil prices have tanked, but not much going on there. Consumer staples, blah. The big banks definitely better relative strength, but a lot of the financials not. Economically sensitive has got better, but very mixed bag. Restaurants, I think, one name in shape. Housing has bounced, but anemically. Look how many areas I have mentioned that I'm definitively staying away from. Oh, by the way, hospital stocks that were acting, well, they've topped, and of course that's medical too. Crypto bounced. I'll give it that. But anemically. Up next, what about that software? This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I must tell you, not much news on the Iran thing. Didn't see too much today. I gather that J.D. Vance is on his way with, Kushner and whoever else? We'll see how that plays out. All I can tell you, as usual, Iran's given us that middle finger. In case you don't know, they would love not just the United States, but all of the West to just be dissolved. They hate democracy. They hate anything but them. And unfortunately, we can't get the people there to rise up against the government. Now, unfortunately, you got well, we don't know if the son's even alive. I think you got some worse people running the joint. And I did a little TV today, and somebody had said, I was on a panel, if they really thought about peace and ceasefire, wouldn't they have opened the Strait of Hormuz? They haven't. They've selectively let their buddies through. You know who their buddies are? Russia. So nothing really great coming out of there today, but they're in meetings. I got a sneaking suspicion that we're going to get out of there and we're going to claim the win. And that's fine, because the fact is, we've beaten the hell out of them. And we knocked them for a loop. They've lost a lot of ability, but obviously has shown they have ability to do some damage. But I think we're closer to the end. But the question is, how far down is it going to go? And if they're running the Strait of Hormuz, they can really dictate policy like guess who used to? OPEC used to have much more ability against the world. If I'm the president now, I really soup up how much oil we can produce. Biden was at record highs. I think we're a little bit better now. I think we need to do more. And I do believe we need to partner, not take over, but partner with Venezuela on it, because Venezuela, I think, has the number one amount of reserves in the world. And if we can partner with them, by the way, that's going to take a while, because the morons that were running the joint over there they're so stupid. Idiots. They had a chance to be as wealthy as can be, and I don't know who was running their oil platforms and stuff. Destroyed, for the most part. So a lot of moving parts there. I will tell you that oil prices topped for now off of Wednesday. And let's hope they've had the climactic move and we start heading on down. I believe oil prices finished on light sweet 89. And within about a week to 10 days, prices will come down at the pump, but will still be elevated. But as you know, they go up quicker than they come down at the gas stations. Don't be mad at the gas stations. Takes time to get the new fuel coming in. And by the way, in case you don't know, and most people don't, go search on Google, whatever, what kind of margins gas stations have on the gas they sell. About as thin can be. I was looking to buy gas stations years ago, and the gas stations I met with were making no money on the gas. You know what they were making a lot of money on? The stores. And some had mechanics and things like that. The stores made a bunch. And you know what they said sold great? Rolling papers. And tobacco and all that. But you know what the problem with regular gas stations now that are owned by, let's say you own 3 or 4 gas stations. The Wawas are taking over here in Florida. 7-Elevens. It's not easy. What competition there is for the bucks. I can tell you a Wawa opened in Central Florida. Not going to mention where. 2 gas stations on 2 corners, shut down. They just shut down. One had a little store. The one had a decent store. They had to shut. Why? Wawa killed them. I'm glad I didn't buy those gas stations back then. And I really wanted to. It was in Lauderdale when I lived down there, and there was going to be 3 or 4 that somebody owned. And we went through a business broker, And I thought it was a great business. I think it was a good move I didn't. Anyway, that's my little gas station story and gas. And again, I think a lot of things are going to be dictated by what's going on there. As I said, and I think anybody could have. Complete miscalculation on Iran's ability and what they could or would do to fight back. And again, we're not rubbing on anybody on that. Again, I would have presumed they couldn't. And we'll see how that bad boy plays out. To our military and our fighters and the people in the skies, God bless all of you. Man, oh man. What they do for us. Never forget that. I meet military, shake their hands and salute. I meet veterans, shake their hands and salute. Amazing what they do. Amazing. Back in markets. So we've been talking to you about the software. Just let it be a big lesson. I'm still looking at companies with 30 and 40% earnings growth, 25% revenue growth. Stocks crashing. The stocks are crashing. A crash is down 50%, 60%, 70%, with no respite. Some people say respite. It's just been straight down, nary a bounce. And again, we believe that's the institutions doing what they said that we thought they were doing. They have to be fully invested or close to it. Their technology funds, get me the hell out of this and pile on that. And that's why we're seeing some extended moves in that artificial intelligence, semiconductor, optical, data, storage, data centers, construction, energy, and all that crap. We think that's what's going on. Going to have to be very careful that if this is a piling in, that means they're not going to stay too long. But I got to tell you, as of the close today, Dow down 270 today, NASDAQ up 80, and the SOX up 200 today. On the big breakout this week. On the big breakout. In fact, on the week, 13.5% the semiconductor index. Stunning. And now even NVIDIA, I had to mention, may be curling up. Remember, NVIDIA's done nothing since last August. Held very good support here in the last couple of weeks. Now starting to turn up a little bit here. If volume was very heavy today, I would have probably probed. When volume was less than expected. But I closed at 188 and change. If semis stay ripe, I think it could tag 200. We'll see. We're not telling you to buy, sell, short, cover. Up next, we'll take you to the weekend. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Thanks for being with us today. I'm just reporting to you the numbers. Consumer sentiment. I guess they ask people how they feel, and they total it up. A record low going to all the way back to when they started taking the poll. And of course, sentiment has to do with what people see, think, feel, and leave no doubt. It dropped to 47.6, that's a number, down a big whopping 10.7% from last survey. It coincides with a sharp spike in with inflation expectations. Duh! And it's of the belief that a year from now, you're going to be paying higher prices. That's number one. Also, I'm reporting the news. They're blaming the Iran conflict for the unfavorable changes in the economy. But all this was interviewed before the ceasefire. So maybe the ceasefire, the quasi-ceasefire, changes how people feel. We'll see. But it was a rough number. Also remember that it's before the market just bounced, and part of this survey is the market, and the market has sucked. And of course, the news doesn't help. If you watch the news, you know they don't like the guy. So everything's negative. If there was a positive, it's a negative. If it's a negative, it's a double negative. That's your news for you. Do not forget the news people. When Biden opened the border and we had millions of people coming in, you know what the media did? Nothing. And they didn't start talking the border until Biden had to start talking the border a few months before the election because his poll numbers were worse than, as I tell you, jock itch and root canal. And then the media blamed the Republicans, like they were running the show. Remember inflation? Remember that, right? 9%? The media showed up late. Of course they did. Because inflation under a Democrat, we don't want to report that crap. Until it had to be reported. But if Trump steps on a crack on a sidewalk, Donald Trump stepped on the crack. Anyway, that's a little story. And then there's the inflation number. Came more than expected, but that for me is expected. And do not believe there are people out there, we call them hacks, that are on one side saying, don't worry, inflation will be fine even if oil prices stay up here for a while. They're nuts. Go search these words. How many products are made with petroleum? Wait till you see. And name those products. Wait till you see. And what happens if petroleum prices stay up for a while? Well, the cost to make those products go up. And what do you think those people who make those products are going to charge you going forward to make up for their extra expense? It's called a higher price. It's why Delta and other airlines are now raising the baggage fee. It's why, believe it or not, Delta came out and said, well, it's going to raise prices on your ticket. And we'll probably just stay up there even if oil prices come down. Tires? Go look how tires are made. Solar panels. Go look what goes into solar panels. The list goes on and on and on. Now, the economy is very good at adjusting. So let's say we stay up at 90, but the economy is used to 70 or 60. Well, not good, but eventually will adjust. But adjust with headwinds, because the cost of energy is huge. And as I said on TV today, it's so amazing that they actually have an inflation number come out that excludes energy and food. It's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. So they have two numbers, one with, one without, only from our government. The two most important things we basically spend money on, sustenance and energy. Yeah, let's exclude it from our report that we put out. Yeah, right. Anything else of note? Just, we're getting narrow. We're going to stick with the semis. Anything in the AI realm, but now on pullbacks, and stay the hell away from software. As I have to tell you, normally in bear markets, you get decent bounces. They call them counter trend rallies. We're not even getting that right now. And this was a week where they sold the hell out of them, and they've taken that money and bought up the semis and AI. And you better be careful now buying into the move in the AI, because they're getting a little overheated. Hey, that all said, you have a great weekend. Drive carefully. And when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family, hug your children. They will feel better. You'll feel better, I promise. I hope this show came out okay with the iPhone. And until Monday, you stay well, be well. Good night.